There are three things that I hate to see podcasters go through. Today, I'm going to share those with you, as well as what you can do if you're facing them. What's happening, podcasters? This is 1000 Podcasters, and I'm Brian Ensminger. I'm a podcaster and a podcast editor, and I want to see you be successful with your podcast. This particular episode is part of David Hooper's 30-day solo podcast challenge, as well as National Podcast Post Month. You can find links to both of those in the episode notes. Today, we're talking about things that I hate to see podcasters go through. Let's face it, creating a podcast is hard work. It's a labor of love, and it requires a lot. Podcasters are special people. They're giving people. They're people on mission to do something. And today I'm going to share three things that I hate to see podcasters go through. But let's start with you. You're a podcaster or an aspiring podcaster. You're special. You actually are. You're one of a kind. And you have a message or a mission or a goal, and it matters. If it matters to nobody else, it matters to you. But podcasting is hard work. It takes an emotional toll. There's a lot to figure out, and even on your best days, there's a chance that you might feel like a failure. For example, when you're just getting started, and this is the first one, you might feel overwhelmed. In fact, you might feel overwhelmed for years. You might, as you're trying to figure out the tech, or you're trying to figure out how to improve your show, or how to better connect with listeners, or how to improve your delivery, which I'm not doing a great job of today, you might feel overwhelmed. You might feel overwhelmed by the options, by the input, by the ambiguity, and in particular, the way I see this often work out is people get overwhelmed at the beginning and they just don't launch. And so the people they could have helped with their show, the people that would have benefited, never will, because that show's not there. The second thing that I see is podcasting basically taking over people's lives. It becomes, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of attention. It can become a singular focus. In fact, this is something that I try to keep myself in check with, because if I let it, podcasting could take over my life, but I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to lose my relationships or my job. And I don't want to just have to quit simply because I couldn't manage it taking over my life. The third, and this one's also a big one. It's a big emotional one. Sometimes it seems like nobody cares. Sometimes it seems like nobody cares how much work or how much effort or how much care goes into putting together a show, whether it's from a technical aspect or from a content aspect or from a care and concern for your listeners' perspective. For example, if your goal is to help provide people with what they need to navigate through a challenge in life, and you put out episode after episode after episode, and the only things you ever get back from people are requests for more or feedback about how it could have been better, or you ask people to send you an email just to let you know that they're even listening, and all you get are crickets, that can be really, really disheartening. And in a moment of weakness, I see podcasters quit. They just quit because it seems like nobody cares. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I don't want it to seem like podcasts are taking over your life, and I certainly don't want that to be true. And I don't want you to feel like nobody seems to care. If you're facing one of these challenges right now, I've got a couple things I'd like to suggest you do. I'm not an expert in this. This is something that I have to go through and do from time to time as well. But these are the things that I would suggest for myself, and I'm suggesting them for you as well. First, take a step back. If it's seeming overwhelming, if it's taking over your life, if nobody seems to care, just take a step back. Maybe take a couple of days and just get some rest, take a step back, and then reevaluate things. Take a look at how you feel about things, and then try to match it up with reality and see if your perception matches reality. I'm not saying that our feelings aren't right or aren't true, but just make sure that it lines up with reality, because I know for me, it can be a lot easier to remember that one piece of negative feedback that I received 4 years ago, instead of all of the notes and all of the emails of people saying, hey, your show helped me keep going, or I was really encouraged by that, or just thank you for doing this. It's really easy for us to lose perspective and focus on that one thing. So I'd ask you to reevaluate things. And then if you're still feeling overwhelmed, if your podcast is taking over your life, Or if it seems like nobody seems to care, then just develop a plan. In fact, develop a plan either way. Develop a plan if you're going through this, or develop a plan if you think this might ever possibly happen to you, and it probably will. So just go ahead and develop a plan. And things that you might consider for your plan are getting some help. Can a listener from your show maybe volunteer and help you with something? Do you have co-hosts that can help you with some portion of this? Can you bring somebody in to do some research? Consider taking a break. Especially as an indie podcaster, the cool thing is we get to call the shots. We decide when the show is published, and if we're not ready for a show to be published, unless we've got advertisers or somebody that really needs to have that episode published, it's up to us. So if you need to take a break, take a break. Take care of yourself so that you can be there for people. Maybe consider changing your expectations. This speaks to the episode yesterday where I talked about editing, where we had two extremes. One is extremely manicured editing, and the other is basically record and go and hope for the best. If you're not getting what you want to out of your show, consider changing your expectations. Maybe you need to consider up-leveling your production quality. Maybe you need to consider taking out production elements. And then finally, especially if your podcast really is seeming to take over your life, consider changing your schedule. If you're publishing daily, consider every couple of days. If you're weekly, consider every couple of weeks. I don't know what the right answer is for you. I know for me, a couple of years ago for the Engaging Missions show, I went from weekly to every other week because I just couldn't keep up with it. I just couldn't keep up with the production schedule. It was taking over my life. I actually took some time off. I took some time to evaluate, and when I came back after a month, I came back at every other week, and that's what I did. And then finally, I would suggest that you write down your plan. Whether you need your plan right now or if you're just working through options for something that you'll do in the future, write it down so that if it does come to it, you can come back to this plan and review it and take action on it. This is the question for you, though. Are you facing one of these three things? Are you facing overwhelm, or does it seem like a podcast is taking over your life, or does it seem like nobody seems to care? If that's you, hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Top Tier Audio, and let me know what's going on. Maybe there's a way for you to get through this, and that you can do it in a way that's healthy and that meets your needs as well as the needs of your listeners. If you'd like to connect with me personally, of course, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Top Tier Audio. Or if you'd like to contact me about consulting or editing or just want to connect with me, my website is toptieraudio.com. That's the place for all of that. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and make a great podcast.